This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some important updates to share with you. We'll talk about Nancy Pelosi's stimulus checks. She's calling for direct payments and prepaid cards. One senator is proposing $250 checks statewide. Another state is proposing stimulus checks statewide as well, proposed by Democrats. We'll talk about how the White House says the economy is doing really well. Then I'll give you the Republican perspective on that. Food prices are expected to go up another 10% according to one billionaire CEO, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a more than mundane Monday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So, quick COVID news. China drafts the military as Shanghai orders to test 25 million residents over COVID. Still a bunch of lockdowns for millions of people, and cases are soaring. Not the case in the US. The US is actually doing pretty well when it comes to COVID. Europe, cases are starting to rise, so we're going to see. I'll keep an eye on it, what goes on over the next few weeks. I'll keep you updated with that. When it comes to food prices, billionaire supermarket owner warns food prices will continue to rise for next few months. So this is according to the CEO. He says that food prices will soar another 10% over the next few months, which could be a bad sign. I thought food prices were high enough, but over the next few months could get even higher. Also, Exxon signals record quarterly profit from oil and gas prices. So Exxon, as well as the other oil companies, are doing really well, especially with the high gas prices, low supply in the market. Demand is driving the prices up, and they're getting a lot of money off of that. Now, because the oil companies are making record high profits, that's where the $300 monthly checks, or also known as the $100 monthly checks, are coming into play federally. So Congress mulls $300 monthly stimulus to car owners to combat high gas prices. So really, it's just $100 per person, but you get an extra $100 per dependent. Three people living in a house, that's $300 monthly. Hasn't moved forward yet in Congress. Also, Nancy Pelosi says rebate cards payments being considered to fight gas costs. Now, ironically, gas prices are slowly going down. We don't know if it's going to continue to go down or if it's just a little blip and it's going to go back up. Take a look at what Nancy Pelosi has to say.
How do we help people directly? If you're going to have to pay for it and you don't want it to come out of the trust fund, something could be a rebate card or a direct payment, and those are the things that are being considered.
What are your thoughts? Should there be prepaid cards and direct payments because of the high gas prices? Let me know your thoughts on all that. So at the moment, it's just talk. If you've been following the channel for maybe 1 year, 2 years, you've heard a lot of things from politicians that did not go through. But I'll let you know the latest of what goes on with Nancy Pelosi's stimulus checks and what comes out of those talks. Next up, stimulus check update. Americans told to double check their bank accounts as 645,000 are still to receive $1,400 cash. So this is the third stimulus check. Looks like 645K still have not received it or claimed it. You have until April 18th to do so if you did not get your third $1,400 stimulus check yet. Then Illinois Democrats propose statewide stimulus check. So a few different numbers here. When it comes to the numbers, what they're saying is most taxpayers would receive $100 per person and $50 per child in their household. Then property owners would get up to $300 in property tax relief checks. Grocery taxes would be suspended 6 months alongside a suspension of gas tax increases. And the state would also freeze taxes on school supplies for 10 days in August. Let me know your thoughts on this. Is this a good idea? Even though this is just for Illinois, do you like these numbers? Should it be extended towards other states as well? Let me know your thoughts on that. And then also, Senator proposes $250 gas checks for New York residents. All registered vehicle owners would receive $250. So this is going on in New York at the moment, just a proposal. Let me know, good idea, bad idea? Should it be for people who maybe don't have vehicles and just $250 checks in general? These are specified for gas stimulus checks, so that's why it would go towards car or vehicle owners. Let me know your thoughts on that. And when it comes to the White House, so Ron Klain, which is the White House Chief of Staff, White House sees encouraging signs economy is rebounding. I want to get your opinion on this. I'm going to play you two different perspectives, one from the White House, which are the Democrats, and then the Republican perspective on that. Take a look at what Ron Klain has to say, White House Chief of Staff.
Let's bring in the White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain. Ron, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's pick up where John left off. How anxious are you?
George, I think we've done a great job and progress on creating jobs. As John mentioned, the unemployment rate down to 3.6%. There's only been 3 months in 50 years where it's been that low. Record job creation. We're bringing the deficit down. We saw the highest economic growth in a single year in American history since 40 years ago in 2021. But we have work to do, and that's what the president's been talking about this week. A new budget to bring the deficit down even further and to improve education and health care, which he introduced on Monday. Steps to bring down the price of gas, which are already bringing down the price of oil. We'll see it at the pump in the weeks ahead. Steps to bring down the price of everyday goods like prescription drugs. We made progress on that in the House this week. And the steps to bring down other costs that people are facing every single day. Child care, elder care, the kind of everyday costs that people face. So we have done a lot of work to bring the economy back from dead in the water when we got here. Virtually no jobs being created, businesses closed, schools closed, a tremendous amount of progress on getting the economy going again in 14 months, but a lot of work left to be done.
Let's go back to the economy. In the wake of that jobs report on Friday, Austin Goolsbee, your former colleague in the Obama administration, economist at the University of Chicago, said we may be moving toward the idea that the COVID era of the U.S. economy is done. Do you agree with that?
Well, I cautiously agree with that. I certainly think we, thanks to the success President Biden has had in vaccinating over 225 million Americans, boosting over 100 million Americans, America's back to work. I mean, again, as I said before, the unemployment rate is one of the lowest months in the past 50 years. We have fewer people requiring unemployment assistance today than we did any time since 1970. So we've solved the jobs crisis. We've got America back to work. America has protection from the existing forms of COVID. We have to be always vigilant and on guard, George, for this virus mutating again, for future waves. We have to be prepared to deal with that. But right now, as we stand here today, our schools are open, our businesses are open, people are coming back to work, people are coming back into the labor force. We had a big jump in labor force participation in March. So I think there are a lot of encouraging signs in terms of this economy coming back to being a robust jobs and business creating economy.
A lot of signs of a powerful economy. As you know, inflation comes with that, and that's what appears to be on people's minds right now. You saw that a poll about the president's approval on the economy. We know gas prices are climbing higher and higher, and we also are seeing that Republicans are poised to exploit that in the midterms. Here's a montage of some of their ads.
It's roared into our lives, Biden's raging inflation. We're paying the high price, and politicians are completely to blame.
Mark Kelly, you rubber stamped Joe Biden's agenda, shutting down pipelines, spiking gas prices, causing rampant inflation.
Washington got COVID wrong. They got the economy wrong, too. Biden's reckless spending caused inflation.
How should Democrats respond?
First of all, let's respond with some facts. The deficit rose every single year Donald Trump was president. His last year, he had the highest deficit in American history. We've brought down the deficit each of the 2 years Joe Biden's been in office. $1 trillion cut in the deficit this year, the largest cut of any president in the history of this country. We're going to cut Trump's deficit in half in Biden's first 3 years. So let's start with the facts about spending and the nonsense like that. Gas prices are a problem. Absolutely, George. That's why the president took the actions he took this week to release 1 million barrels a day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, to tell the oil companies they either need to pump oil on the 9,000 permits they have or give them back for others to do that, to increase production here. Those things we think are going to bring down the price of gasoline, relieve some of the pain at the pump. And we also have an agenda to cut taxes for people, to bring down the costs of everyday things. Now, look, the Republicans have an agenda, too. Senator Scott says their agenda is to raise taxes on millions of Americans, to get rid of Social Security, and to do other things that are going to devastate middle-class people. So I think when people compare our agenda to the Republican agenda, that's going to be a clear choice for folks.
What are your thoughts on what Ron Klain has to say? Do you agree, disagree? Is the economy doing much better? So that's one perspective. That's the Democrats' perspective on this channel. I like to give you multiple perspectives, different sides of the argument, so you have a well-rounded view. That's the way I like to think. I'm an independent, and that's the way I like to portray information. If it's just coming from one side, then you're only getting one side of the argument. So take a look at Republican Senator Roy Blunt, pretty much answering the same question here about the economy. Take a look.
You heard Ron Klain taking on critics of the president's budget like you, who said it's reckless spending, pointing out that the deficit has come down from the high level of the deficit under President Trump.
Well, I think the most reckless thing the president did in spending is the March decision on a totally partisan way for the first time in anything we were dealing with COVID to try to come back and put $2 trillion into an economy that was already well on the way to recovery. Larry Summers said that was a problem. Others have said not only is that a problem, but further massive spending on new programs is a problem. The biggest political issue in the country today is clearly inflation. People are seeing not only gas prices at astronomical levels, and they were, by the way, at unacceptable levels long before Putin did anything regarding Ukraine. They went up for almost every day, beginning not just the day after the president was inaugurated, but the day after he was elected, as people were seeing what was going to happen with his energy policies. And commodity prices as high in some cases as 20%. All you have to do is go to the gas station or the grocery store or pay your winter heating bill to know that something unacceptable has happened. And I think that's this excessive level of spending that Democrats all on their own put $1.9 trillion into the economy in March, and it'll take us a long time to recover from that and even longer to pay it back.
So which side do you agree with more? Is it the Democrat perspective, Republican perspective on the economy? Let me know your thoughts on all that down in the comments below. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
The one thing for the tip of the day, be glad what you have, because I might not be there, because if you really wanted something and now you don't like it, you have to take a chance what you had before, because I might not be there. So that's the last tip of the day that I wanted to give. Bye, it's Bella.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your support. So here's some more clips of the kids and stuff. Hopefully you had a great weekend. We had a good time camping. Good to be home in our own bed and have some heat, or actually not heat, but just more shelter. Anyways, if you want to check out any of my other videos on my other channels, you could click up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.